What is up, everybody? Welcome to Unboxed. I am your host, the Ninth Wonder. Today, we are joined by Tyler from TM Comics. Tyler, how you doing today? Hold on. You caught it. Normally, people don't call it, catch it, but you caught it. You were on mute. Tyler, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just the usual, packing books, pulling orders, stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So guys, if you didn't check it out last week, Unboxed is a new show that I'm doing where I hook up with some of my buddies and they unbox some of their CGC orders. Maybe one show I'll do a CGC unboxing as well, or CBCS unboxing. And we can make it like a 2-for-1. But for right now, like I said, I'm just inviting some of my friends on and letting them show the world what they're getting back from their grading submissions recently, so we can kind of see what that experience was like. But before we get too deep into this, guys, please remember, like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We greatly appreciate it. All right, now that we got the business out the way, I want to give y'all a little origin story on how I met Tyler. And I just, I met this brother probably maybe a little bit over a month ago at C2E2 in Chicago. We met through a mutual friend, and we did a lot of digging in Chicago at a bunch of different booths. And the first booth we went to was the Victory Comics booth, and I had a decent little stack. Then I saw this man's stack, and it was like that, and he would pull it out fire book after fire book after fire book. And I was like, all right, yeah, he's definitely my type of guy. So I had instant respect for this brother. I was like, man, he got a nose like a pit bull for it when it comes to these books. Then the bromance went to a different level when he started showing me some of his original art. And I was like, all right, yeah, this is a bad boy right here. And I knew that we would be best buds. So I'm happy to have Tyler on the show today. Tyler, what was like your first impression of me when you met me?
I don't know. You seemed like a pretty cool, chill dude. So I thought I'd get along with you pretty easy, and you seem to know your shit. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's normally what most people say about me. But man, it was fun kicking it with you in Chicago. Hopefully, at New York Comic Con, we get a chance to hang out. Maybe hit some bars. Do some digging. Hopefully, they have good vendors at NYCC this year, and we can get some good digging in and find some steals, because that's always the fun part of the con. But Tyler, tell the people, like, what is your journey into comic books? What does that look like? Where did you start? How long have you been collecting? What are some of the things that you like to collect? Just give us a brief rundown on who you are.
So I've always read trades and stuff like that. I got stuff like that from my uncles and whatnot. And then on my I think it was my 21st birthday, I went into the comic shop and started getting into it more. I found the first set I put together was Venom First Host. Was drawn in by that cover, and that drew me in for my favorite character too. Read more about him, loved him more and more, and then one thing led to another with just good connections and resources around me, and everybody's telling me you should sell books. So I gave it a try, and here I am doing it for a full-time job. Never thought I'd be there, but
Yeah, I recently made the transition. It was last December, into being a full-time comic book seller, something that I never thought I would do. But thus far, it's been like an excellent, I'm not gonna say excellent, but it's been a very fruitful it's been a very fruitful experience, and not one that I regret. Even if I do go back to working and selling comic books, I can say this past year of my life has been truly, I always want to say, life changing, and it's definitely opened up a lot of doors and opportunities. Even just small stuff not small, because meeting you is not small, but even small stuff like meeting you, that's something that literally can be life changing, because everything that we do is about establishing relationships and making connections. And like I say, relationships are worth more than money. Always you want to do whatever you can to maintain an integrity of a relationship, or of a friendship, however you want to title it. So just like I said, meeting you, that was definitely, that definitely, like I said, I look at stuff like that as a blessing, because you can give me knowledge about comics that I might not have, and that can open up, another market, for me to buy in and things of that nature. So I always, like I said, I always value those relationships, and hopefully this is the first of many things that we can work on together. So
Sure.
Tyler, you just got a box back from CGC. How many books did you submit on this submission?
Well, I actually typically submit with a friend, so this box is my books from the submission from my friend. So, and then some of them already got sold on eBay already, so those are gone. But the ones that are I wanted to take back, at least hold on for a little bit for me, I have in this box right here that he packed up. So if it looks like the box wasn't packed at all, it's just because I picked this up from my buddy's house.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Like I said, we just want to see what's inside. Now, do you already know the grades on these, or?
I do know the grades on them just because one was a reholder and one my buddy told me the grade on it when he got it back because he was shocked as well as I. I didn't think I was going to get that grade on that book. So
All right, awesome. All right, well, I'm excited to see what you got. So, without further ado, go ahead and show us, man, what you have in the box.
let's pop this up. All right, this was the primary reholder book that like I was really, really, really excited for.
Do you ever get scared when you do reholders? Like, dang, are they going
I was a
to jack
little nervous
something
about
up?
this one because when I was looking the book over, I was there was a few defects on it that I was a little bit worried that like, oh, would they regrade it or something like that? But no, they didn't, and it came out fine. This is my only Stanley signed book in my personal collection, so this one's like
Yeah,
very near and
that's
dear
a
to my
that's a
heart.
dope one to have, especially with the She-Hulk show on right now, and
Oh
then the
yeah.
Stan signature on it. Like that makes it even better. You know, man, one thing that kind of perplexes me is like I feel like books like that, like the She-Hulk #1, should probably go for more money than
Mm-hmm.
they're currently going for right now. Um, like, do you ever worry about that? Like in the market, like when it seems like the market is not responding to a book the way like some other books have. Like,
So I've noticed just in general, the trend has been kind of slowing down where there's the huge spike for every show. Moon Knight, in my opinion, was the last show that really did that. And I think going forward, I think collectors are getting a little bit smarter with the wave and buying earlier on. So you never really get that huge wave. And when it comes up, most of the people who already wanted it bought the book. So they're when the auctions come around, when the show comes around, people aren't bidding up through the roof. Most of the people that wanted the book really bad already got it.
yeah, and I think also people were a little disappointed by Moon Knight, and when the show didn't live up to expectations, I think that kind of rubbed people in a way like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be throwing money into the next character that's going to get their show because the show might not live up to expectations, and then the book might take a downward turn in FMV instead of going, back up. So, but ultimately, I try to when I look at making investments in the comic books, I try to take like the movies and the Disney Plus shows out of the conversation and just think about like how is Marvel going to use this character in comic books and how are they going to treat that character within their own IP. Like, are they going to include them in movies and I mean in video games, merch? Are they going to keep them with an ongoing series and a comic book, which is why I'm a big fan of Miles Morales because he always has those types of things going. Even if you look at Moon Knight, bro, it's not a lot of Moon Knight merch, out there. Most of it's going to be distributed by smaller companies and things of that nature. With She-Hulk, man, I really don't know, but I think just the history on that book alone should probably commanded a higher price tag than what it's going for right now. But I think one thing that's special about that book that you have there is that it's signed by Stan Lee, which puts a little bit of extra moi on it.
Oh
So
yeah, I mean being
definitely a
local.
great pickup right there. All right, now what else do you have for us?
All right. This was the one that I was surprised the grade got back, and I haven't got a chance to look it over yet to see why it got the grade it got. But I thought it should have got a 9.4, and I got a 9.8 on my Rick and Morty #1.
Yes, sir. Great book right there. What are those Rick and Morty number, You know what? Actually, let me look it up right quick, and
Uh,
I want to see what that book is going for right now in the 9.8.
the most recent auction, I believe, just ended at 875, but the two previous sales, or two or three previous sales for that, were right around $1,000. So it's been anywhere from like around $900 to $1,000.
Man, that is crazy. And what does a She-Hulk #1 go for in the 9.8?
I don't know now because I actually sold my 9.8 because when I got the 9.2, I'm like, I'm never getting rid of this. So like I'm not one to keep multiple books in my collection. So if I have a double, like I always get rid of it. So when I got the 9.2 signed by Stan, I was like, I'm getting rid of my 9.8. And when I sold it at the time when I sold, I got I think it went for around 1,500, but I think they've come down a lot since then.
Man, ain't that crazy to think that those two books are so close in price together? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you would think like, oh no, man, there's no way that those two books will be going for, close to the same thing, but they are,
It's
man. Like,
more of like the NFT thing that's going on too. Is like with Rick and Morty, it's the more the popular wave of stuff that's coming up, which is giving value to different things. And then Rick and Morty #1 is probably the rarer book between She-Hulk and Rick and Morty. I would have to guess.
yeah, and I see that somebody else accepted a offer on the She-Hulk in the 9.8. The buy now price was 800, but they accepted a best offer. So I'm assuming that the book probably went for, let's say, just say 750, which is crazy. That
Well,
that, like,
I
don't get me
mean,
twisted. I know Rick and Morty is big with our generation, but I would expect for that She-Hulk, to command more of a price just because Marvel is such a strong IP.
yeah, it's the numbers though too with the book because it's like Carnage #1. I mean, that book was closing in on $2,000 and a 9.8, and now you can get a 9.8 for almost $500. People just flood the market when the book becomes popular. So anybody and their mother who had a 361 that came out of the woodwork, and then people really realized how many were out there. It's not that the book's still not valuable or anything like that. It's just there's a big portion of it that does attribute to rarity.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree 110% with all of that. Like I said, I think there's gonna be like a day. I don't want to say a day of reckoning, but a day of reconciliation, maybe, where people say, "Oh, man, maybe I'm selling these books for too cheap." When they start to realize like the history behind some of these Marvel books, I
Mhm.
think there's going to be a day of reconciliation where people regret selling some of these books at the prices that they're selling them at. Let's see. Car Jam says way less 9.8s on the senses of Rick and Morty. Why I do agree with that, Jim's. Senses don't mean everything because people are just now starting to. I'm not gonna say just now, but people been sending in She-Hulk #1s for years. For a long, long time. And that Rick and Morty book, like that's such a niche thing that's not something that the average guy getting submitting books for submission would say, oh, let me send in a Rick and Morty in a 9.8, and that's not something that a big vendor would say, well, let me get a bunch of Rick and Mortys and try to get them in a 9.8 and get them graded. They would much rather invest their money into like the She-Hulks and stuff like that, knowing that book will sell over and over again throughout time, which maybe
Right.
that's something else we need to look at is like how many times a book sells in 9.8 versus, or, in any grade versus, a book that sold a couple of times, for a high amount of money. Like, which one would you rather have? Which book is more fluid?
Oh, I'm gonna
Um,
have to say She-Hulk.
Brad Selden says Day of Atonement. There you go, Brad. That's the word I was actually looking for. Um, but dang, man, I could talk about comics all day long. To
Oh
be
yeah.
honest,
Oh yeah.
let's see. Yeah, now I do agree on this, Jim. Smaller print run and a cartoon that kids destroy, hard to clean copy. Yeah, that is true about those kids. That's another market, that probably needs to be studied. Is like the comic books that were intended for kids. Like they came out around the mid 2000s, and even like the mid 2000s. Like I don't think those books. I don't think people recognize how tough some of those books are to get. I know like First Rose Besh, which is like a BM Puppy Cat variant. Like it always has a color rub mark like on the same part of the book. So I don't know if that was like a printing error or just the way that those books were handled. But every time I find that book, like 9 times out of 10, it seems to have that color rub mark on it. I've seen them without it, but normally they were already slabbed by that point. So Tyler, what do you have any other submissions that you're getting ready to send off, or do you have anything else out there?
Well, I got two more books in here. And then I just sent in my Hawkman number 4 to get graded. I'm hoping for a 1.0 on that one. And then,
I didn't know you had more books in there.
oh no, I got two more.
Oh, keep it going. Keep it going.
I got Miss Marvel number 18. This is a CBCS slab. Like I said, this is the box that I picked up from my buddy that sends in all my stuff for me. And if for those that don't know, it's the first appearance of Raven, and then who later becomes Mystique. So that's a good book to spec on.
Yeah, definitely a dope book right there.
And then the last one in here, I just have Infinite Crisis number 5, Jamie Reyes.
Oh, I love that book. Is that a newsstand or is that just the regular direct edition?
This is a direct sales copy.
Okay. I had a newsstand of that and I sold it on Whatnot, and I really regret that now.
Oh, they're incredibly tough to find. As soon as you get it past 2,000, they're like ghosts. Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of regret that now, especially if that Blue Beetle movie turns out to do good. But at the same time, I almost feel like, man, DC is like, man, they're going through the freaking wash right now, man. Like, I don't know what to expect.
I mean, I feel like it's very promising if they're willing of being biggest company as they are to sit there and say like we can only afford to do 2 movies for the next 2 years. Like that's a huge like step back to reset your universe and do everything like that. I really hope they get it together because I think it's just good for comics in general when DC and Marvel are both strong together. I hate the people that are always like one-sided. One side's got to win. Like I want everything to be good. Like I don't want to see Batman fail. Even though Batman's not my favorite character, I'd still love to see a badass Batman movie.
I agree, man. I was saying that DC needs to do 2 things. They need to take all of their shows off of streaming, off of network TV. They need to only do movies for maybe like the next 5 or 6 years. And they need to they probably need to do a lot of stuff opposite of what Marvel is doing. Don't worry too much about political and social agendas. Don't worry too much about having like a PG, anybody can go see this movie type movies. Like just tell like the best stories from the comics as close to the comics as you can get them without fooling around with it too much, because it almost sets a path that you can go down without having to do too much goofy stuff to keep people interested. Even if some of those movies end up going the exact same way as the comics, with no twists or turns or anything like that, I think the average person would say, well, probably hasn't read the comics anyway. And the people that have read the comics, they will probably be surprised, like, oh, they kept everything comic accurate, and they would still be excited about it just because it was such a good experience, based on, look, they kept everything comic accurate and they gave us, a good movie, hand claps to DC, because they can't get no lower than where they at right now, right? So what is it gonna hurt to try to go in a different, in a different direction? I think people will probably respect that more, that they're not doing some of the same stuff that Marvel is doing. The only thing I say they do need to do is just keep everything in a connected universe and not make one-off movies and things of that nature. So, all right. Dang, man. Well, it was good chatting with you, Tyler. I know you do Instagram live sales. Do you have any live sales coming up that you want to promote or anything of that nature?
I do every week, Tuesday through Thursday, starting off at the earliest 9:30. And then I usually throw in an extra day on Monday and Sunday if I'm feeling really crazy. So throw up new previews every day, list different books every day. So always good stuff listed on my page and asked for and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and what type of books do you specialize in? What is like your go-to category in comics? Like if people are looking for a certain type of category, what category would you say like you're the that's like the absolute best category to come to you for?
I think the best category for me to come for would probably be your more niche books, as far as like ratio variants and just stuff that's like you haven't seen in a while. I'm not talking about ratio variants that came out like this month or within the past year. I'm talking about the ones that are like 10 years ago, that random 1 in 20 that was like a badass cover and you just can't find it. It's a ghost. And because I have a range of pretty much everything in my sales, but particularly very ratio centric and like artist centric. So like I'll have a lot of like Gabriel Dell'Otto or Adam Hughes and stuff like that.
All right, awesome. And dang, it was another question I wanted to ask you. Um, you know what? Let's do this because I wanted to do this in the beginning, but I totally forgot to do this. I need to show everybody your Instagram so that they
Oh, that
can,
works.
yeah, so they can see, where to find you at. But while I'm bringing that up, so next week well, right here on Ninth Point the Comics, we're gonna do a all original art show. I have a few different people on showing off their original art, whether it's sketchbooks, um, uh, original comic book art, um, sketch covers, everything of that nature. So you're gonna join us for that next week, correct?
Yeah. I've actually pulled out a piece of original art to get framed after I saw your panel art you bought. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm getting this stuff framed because I'm mad because I can't find any right now.
Yeah, I need to find somewhere to get my OA framed at. I kind of got an idea for how I want to do it too. I wanted to show like obviously have it framed, but I also want like a picture. I want to like a section where it can show like a picture of the main comic book cover.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, and just like have whatever it is. So if it's She Hulk 164, pages 17 and 18, I want like a little thing, a little plaque or something that tells that, and then
Hmm.
it'll show the actual comic cover right above that. Or I don't know if I want like the actual page from the comic, how the final product came out
Hmm.
on there with it. So I'm trying to get my OA collection up, man. I think OA is uh-oh. So my boy Yi in here, he's saying he up for showing off some of his OA. I know we got you. We got my guy Rob Comics said he was gonna come through. I know a few other people with OA, so I'm gonna just have a bunch of people on next week, and we're gonna be showing off our original art, which is gonna be a pretty fun show, I think, and it'll just go from probably like 8 until whenever everybody taps out. So 11, 12. So like it won't be any set time. Anybody don't have to say, oh well, you don't have to be on right at 8, just like whenever you can come through. So if it's anybody else out there that are OA collectors, like I said, anything original with comic book art, just hit me up on Instagram, and I'll make sure to note that, make a mental note to myself that you're coming through, and I'll send you a link the day of the show. And like I said, real simple. Hop on, show off your OA. We'll talk comics, all that good stuff. So it should be a pretty fun show. Uh, but y'all, once again, man, TM Comics, TM underscore comics underscore on Instagram. This is his page right here. Y'all can see the man has everything listed out perfectly. Upcoming cons, C2, E2, and NYCC. Um, look, he's also on Whatnot, even though he's not selling on there much. Got his schedule on there, so everything real professional. Like y'all, make sure y'all go and give TM Comics a follow and attend some of his live sale. Uh, man, look, somebody in the chat, man, hit me with the Niner news. Of course, everybody and their mama been texting me today. I don't think it's a crazy day. Just look, got to address what my man Omega Red is saying. I think it's a good thing. We get to keep Jimmy G for a cheap price. Reliable backup. Our other backups was trash. Then at the end of the season, when he goes and find a new team, we still get a compensatory pick for it, which is going to be far better than anything we would have got if we would have traded Jimmy G. So it's a win-win for us, and it's a win-win for Jimmy Garoppolo too. So I'm actually very happy about this news. But with that being said, Tyler, thank you again for coming on, my brother. It was dope to have you on for the first time, but thankfully we won't have to wait too long because you'll be right back with us next week when we do the original art show on Anti-Spec Spec Club. Y'all stick around or just wait for the notification that I'm live again. I got a couple of things to do around the house really quick, and then I'm going to be back live with the Anti-Spec Spec crew. Anybody that wants to hop on, you can hop on. We'll be on, for a few hours tonight. But me and Tim, we're going to wrap this up, guys. Remember, if you haven't done so already, we're trying to keep, the channel growing. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you will know when I am live. And look, here for a good time, not for a long time. So live life and be happy, y'all. And I'll see y'all on the flip side if I can find my banner and cover up our faces and get out of here. I'm so horrible with transitions, y'all. All right, man. We out. I'll see y'all again soon.